Well, good afternoon. I am Steve Keefe. I am the broker owner of Coldwell Bankers Skyridge Realty, located in Big Bear Lake, California. And this afternoon, I'm going to do a quick market update on the city of Big Bear Lake for September of 2024. We're going to take a look at some market statistics comparing 2024 to year-to-date 2024 versus 2023. So first up, this gives you a general snapshot of all of the market activity in Big Bear Lake year to date. In the middle column, middle row there, on the top is the last 12 months, and the bottom row is the summary for 2023. So let's start with 2023. There were 203 properties that closed escrow in the city of Big Bear Lake in the calendar year 2023. There were 107 active listings, and you had 101 that were properties that were listed for sale and for whatever reason did not sell. They were either canceled or expired, price too high, whatever. The deal was not made on those properties. So back in 2023, you had a 49% odds or chance of selling your property. That's a little on the low side in comparison to 2 years ago when the market was red hot. Virtually everything was selling. And at that time, you had a basically 75% chance of selling your property, 75 to 80%. So that is down just a bit. And you'll see in 2024 year to date, that slipped a little bit more. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So comparing, well, actually, let's continue with 2023. What that translates to is about 16.9 homes per month. So 17 homes a month selling, with about 6.3 months of inventory available at that time. So it was a fairly balanced market. Anything below 6 months is typically a seller's market. So 2 years ago, when we had 2-3 months of inventory in most price ranges, that was considered a seller's market. 6 months is balanced, and then anything over 6 months is considered to be leaning towards the buyer advantage. 2024, 128 properties closed, so trailing behind 2023 just a little bit, but not much. I mean, I think we probably will end up, my prediction is 2023 will end up fairly close to that 203 closed transactions. 3 under contract currently in the city of Big Bear Lake, and then 142 for sale. So comparing the current inventory, the green, with current inventory back in 2023 at 107, you see basically a 50% increase, which is what's causing that, again, softening in the odds of selling. So from 49% to 35%. And all that means is that the sellers need to be a little bit more aggressive with their positioning and their pricing to make sure that they are the most attractive property. It creates when they have more inventory on the market, that creates a little bit more competition for the sellers. So you need to make sure that A, you're working with a good solid agent who's marketing the property correctly, so you have full advantage, and then you also need to make sure that the property is positioned correctly. If you compare year-to-date 2024, which we're about 8 months into it, versus the last 12 months, we're actually slightly ahead. If you look at the numbers. So we did see a little bit of an increase in activity in 2024. So the numbers are looking a little bit better. Next up is the average days on market. So this again shows 2023. The next slide will show you 2024. So on average, each blue dot on the graph is a home that sold. So on average, you're looking at 106 days in 2023. You can see a couple were out in that 400 range. So those are properties that sat on the market for a long period of time, maybe reduced over time, whatever. And then the red line represents all those properties that are average or below. So you see that there are a lot that sold very quickly. The very best properties sell in the fastest time frames. And those properties that sort of linger, oftentimes they get diminished in value a little bit. The average close price, pretty good number at 902,113 in the city of Big Bear Lake. So almost just under $1 million on your average sales price. So that is up significantly from 3-4 years ago. In 2024, up about 8 days on the average days on market. geez, you got that one property out there at 1,600 days. You got one at 800 days. Those are some really diligent sellers keeping their property on the market for that time period. And wow, what kind of agent is that to be able to maintain that relationship without selling the property over whatever a 5-year period? That's pretty crazy. So 114 days average, and then you saw the average sales price drop down from 902, I think it was, to 739. That doesn't mean values in the city of Big Bear Lake dropped. What that means is the average sales price dropped. So you had less expensive homes, a higher percentage of less expensive homes selling versus the higher end homes. So don't panic. Prices are stable, especially in Big Bear Lake. You are seeing, in some instances, maybe a little bit of softening on value, but for the most part, we are seeing that properties are maintaining value. The next two slides compare 2023 versus 2024, showing when the properties that sold, what months they sold in, and how many there were. And typically you see the second half of the year is historically when we see most of our properties selling. And this is a perfect example of that. So you had a little bit of a dip in November, but for the most part, the fall months and into winter is when we really saw most of the activity. And that's what we see historically. For 2024, we're expecting the same. We're expecting a rate cut that's going to be coming up in the next week or so with the feds, and we may see some buyers come in off the fence and start taking advantage of some of those lower interest rates. So we're expecting a strong fall season, getting us into the holiday season with some pretty good numbers. So expect that we should see a pretty strong finish, and thus my prediction that we will come pretty close to our numbers that we had last year in 2023 for our total sales. Last graph is the pricing graph, and it doesn't really tell you too much. You want to see kind of how you fit within the marketplace, but it is interesting. You've got a monster house here out here on the right margin. Looks like maybe a 13,000 square foot house on the market for 3.3 million. And then at the top end, you had the highest sale year to date is just below that 3.90, the blue dot there in the middle of the graph. So that is the highest sales price. Next highest was down below 2.2, so you don't have a whole lot of properties in that really high end range, but you do have a couple out there on the asking side. So you've got one at maybe 5.5, one expired, the red box there at 5.5-ish, and then you've got one 8,000 square foot house in the maybe $4.6 million range, something like that. So if you'd like a custom graph, something that's a little more spread out, that has a little more understandable data, we're happy to provide that to you. So as I said, I am Steve Keefe. We are based in the Big Bear Valley, and if you'd like to have us, evaluate your property, or if you'd like us to provide you with some information regarding a property, if you're a buyer, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can text me on my cell phone number, or you can contact me on my email address there. We'd be happy to help you in any way we can. We've been selling property here on the mountains for over 30 years and have a lot of knowledge and ability to help you make the right decisions. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. Have a great day.